Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted. With me are my colleagues
Nate,
Ryan,
Dave,
and today we're going to talk about 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons Sorcerer. So, what do we think?
magically delicious.
If only.
you could totally do like a leprechaun sorcerer. That would do the chaos, the wild magic one.
This sounds more like a Fey Pack Warlock.
Well, I mean, that gives we'll get into our discussion of warlock versus sorcerer, but
Versus wizard.
versus wizard in a cage match.
Versus your mom.
So, in earlier editions of Dungeons & Dragons, or at least third, where we have a long history of
Two
play,
editions ago, which is all of 15 years ago. Is that where we stand?
the sorcerer was kind of created to be the most diverse. And now that we've switched to 5th, the key property of the sorcerer having the ability to just choose what they're going to cast at the time of casting is kind of been lumped into all the other casters with the addition of the spell slots. So the uniqueness of what the sorcerer could do earlier is
kinda got
is
robbed.
Now, everybody else can do it only better.
only better.
There are no more unicorns, exactly.
So now they say, okay, well, let's create these sorcerer points that allow you to play around with your spell,
Yeah.
and it's almost to a point that, although not as efficient as the old style psionics.
yeah. Well, with what they're talking about, the sorcerer points, they basically took all the meta magic feats of 3 and stuck them in to the sorcerer's abilities.
Right.
Right, yeah. What makes them the sorcerer distinct is the sort of modification of your spells.
abilities.
Yeah.
So
And the only problem is, too, is like at the early levels, when you first get that as third, you have 3 sorcerer points. So basically, in maybe 1 combat to 3 combats a day, you can look really cool.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I-
you start to get it at second, but all that really does is you get to trade that in for an extra first level spell.
Yeah.
You
You
can't
get
do
your
anything.
sorcerer points, but you don't get your meta magic until third.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
So then when you get to 3rd level, you're now up to 3 points. You can either cast an additional 2nd level spell, which, mind you, isn't all that bad, or you can begin to modify your spells using, the 2 meta magics that you've chosen.
Which, come on, let's be honest. The first 2, any sorcerer worth their salt should take.
Empowered and twin.
Twin spell. Exactly. Just twin it for the win. Yeah.
I like Distant, to be honest with you. A twin is awesome. Empowered, I wasn't all that enamored with. I mean, you get the...
Reroll damage dice. I mean,
but it's not as good as the old Empower.
No.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
1.5.
But, turning your touch attack into a reach of 30 feet or, doubling the range on your attack, I think, that's can come in kind of handy.
All right, that is handy, but just hear me out on this one, right?
Uh-huh.
So when you stack twin spell and empower spell, say you go with chromatic orb, right? So you're twinning it. I mean, you got to have the pool, the amount of points in your pool. So you're not doing this at 3rd level, but you twin that. So you have.
Aren't they each 1 point?
No, twin spell's a higher cost.
No, twin point is the level of the spell.
Level of the spell. Okay, so it's 1 point for each. So that's going to be 1 point for that, and then I think the empower is like another 1 point, right? So 2 points to twin. You twin a chromatic orb, and you hit 66 split. So yeah, you would be able to do that at 3rd level. So 66 to 2 different targets. That out of those, say you have at least +4 modifier to charisma, or +3, more reasonable. So you get to re-roll half those dice. Kind of awesome.
So if you drop 1s and 2s, you could roll those dice again.
Yeah. I mean,
And take whatever you get.
Yeah, you're taking
True.
whatever you want.
But if
whatever
you're rolling
you get,
1 or
but-
2, chances are you're rolling better.
Yeah. Than that.
So
Yeah.
I still like Distant and Twin myself.
Being able to turn a touch attack to a range 30 is really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
or
Yeah.
using your acid spray from 20 feet away instead of 10 feet away, I think is nice as well.
yeah.
Okay, what is it? Make a cone attack go longer? Is that what it would do?
No, it just doubles the range.
Oh, okay.
And acid spray is not actually a cone. It
It's just
strikes
2
one.
people.
It strikes one person.
Oh, is it 1 person? Okay.
No, acid spray strikes 2.
Okay.
Poison spray
Yeah.
strikes 1
Right.
at 10 feet, which does nice for a cancer to die 12 is nice. But As a caster, I don't want to get that close. Although, if you're a Draconic Bloodline, you can kind of get in there and mix it up a little bit.
Right.
I think the center stone really is going to be the Bloodlines. But the problem with that is you have one really good one and one that's thematically cool, but mechanically it's kind
It's
of
a little lackluster, especially at low levels. It gets, because like when we're talking about the what is it, the Wild Magic Bloodline, or what is it called?
Yeah, it's a Wild Mage.
Wild Mage. So the primary ability that you're going to be able to lean on a lot and get
Tides of Chaos.
Tides of Chaos, except for not at levels, like levels 1 through 3. You're using it pretty rarely. It's not until you get some spells under your belt that then this way you're rolling Wild Surges a lot, which there's a lot of beneficial ones. There's a few that really suck for you, and there's some that are just comical to happen. So it's kind of
well, here's the thing. Like, if I play a Wild Mage, I'm using my Tides of Chaos as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not even for it to be relevant.
Yeah.
Only because the only way for you to reset it and get more uses out of it
Is your DM.
your DM Wild Surgeon on you.
Right.
And if you're a Wild Mage, you want a Wild Surge. That's kind of that's your thing, right?
Yeah.
So at first level, you can get it off 3 times.
Yeah.
Your Tides of Chaos, and then you're kind of
If your DM, is actually doing that on you, every DM is actually going to be different. I know, in your game, Ryan's actually playing a Wild Mage Sorcerer, and you're like, all right, I want to do this as often as possible. You're hoping for that roll that he fireballs the party.
Right. Yeah.
We know that's what you're going for.
Right, yeah.
So,
I'll accept other things, but hey.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like a nice potted plant or a sheep,
Yeah.
perhaps. Yeah.
Hey, whatever is the most comical on look, right? You're in a pitch battle. The orcs are all around you. Next thing you know, you're a potted plant. They're like,
You've fallen into my trap.
So, looking through the progression, I think once the sorcerer kind of gets to 7th level, where they're getting the higher level spells, they've got a large plethora of spell slots to be able to play around with. Then I think that they're going to really have the ability to shine by manipulating their point pool and their and the spells that they have, that they're going to be able to outperform some of the other casters that are there. But until you get to that point, I just think that their limited selection,
and it goes really fast.
those points are going to disappear like that.
Mm.
It's almost like, I want to say, if you want to play a really cool sorcerer, play a bard.
Yeah. Or a warlock.
Because, well, the thing with the warlock is they don't get very many spell slots.
Yeah.
Even at 7th level, they have 2 spell slots. Their thing is after a short rest,
You get them back.
they get them back. But if your party isn't resting, they're kind of like, I'm
Yeah.
done. But no, so I'm looking at the sorcerer, and I'm probably going to make some tweaks. Like, I'm probably, especially for the Wild Mage, I'm going to be like, cantrips. Cantrips and magic, activation of magic items may cause Wild Surges.
Yeah.
There's going to be, a warning or something somewhere. The one thing that the sorcerer gets is they get an extra cantrip above everybody else.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. I mean, it's diverse. It's a little diversity. It's an at will. But again, it's still only one more.
Yeah, I think it's almost they run into the problem of the sorcerer points are a decent idea, but they don't get enough for it to be significant. Like, once they hit 6th level, no matter what bloodline you take, you get an ability that also you can burn sorcery points to activate,
Yeah.
but you're gonna burn through them. So you're really not getting to use them to that great of effect because you get to use them so rarely in a way. Like, it's like I can either have more spells
I almost
or...
wonder if they shouldn't reset after a short rest.
Yeah, well, because the 20th level ability for the sorcerer, which I think is kind of ass, is like
They get 4 back every time they rest.
after they get a short rest. Which you're 20th level by that point. Does it? Does it really?
Is 4 really going to be all that helpful?
No.
Now, one of the things I was considering, we were talking about earlier, was that the sorcerer is supposed to be you are magic. You've got tapped into something, or people have experimented on you, or whatever.
Whatever it is, it's in your blood.
It's in you. So I think that there should be something in there that allows you to get spells off of anywhere.
Any list, yeah. Well, I mean, this is when we get into like the things that, like what we could prospectively house rule.
Right.
It's just like, if it thematically fits with the character
Now-
concept, the bloodline concept, go
Now,
for it.
I don't want to say that every single spell that you're going to pick is from here and there and everywhere else.
Like maybe like domain spells like the Warlock packs. They should have. It's not that they automatically get it per se, but they have the option of choosing those spells. Their bloodline offers other choices.
Yeah, I agree. Because it talks about in there that you could have a chaotic origin. You could be experimented on. You could be from some kind of dragon thing. You could be chosen by a god. There's anything that your imagination can come up with. So if you were essentially an agent of a god but arcane, why can't you have cleric spells?
And another thing too, this made me think of what Paizo did with Pathfinder. When you choose bloodlines, there's certain spells that you get based on your bloodline. Like if you're aberrant, you get things that are gonna feel like that. Like lots of like transmutation effects and stuff like that. So I mean, it's kind of they missed an opportunity there to make it distinct with your bloodline, giving you a certain thing.
I didn't really want to go this route, but here it goes. Okay, so we're gonna be a bitch fest on the sorcerer because really, when you look at the sorcerer, right? Let's look right. Let's go right to the beginning. Same exact hit points as the wizard.
Yeah.
Same exact weapons as the wizards.
And non-armor.
And no armor. Yeah.
And they're not spending all this time like studying for it.
Skills. They get the same exact.
No tools. No
number
languages.
of skills, and their selection is weak. I mean, personally, I was a little disappointed in the selection when I was making my sorcerer because I'm like, well, I want to take perception, but I can't because it's not on the list.
Unless you're an elf.
So I covered that anyway.
Yeah.
But my point is like if you're not the magic-y guy because you went to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's the guy that made that comment?
I know that's why I said it because.
Yeah. I can't remember the YouTube subscriber that put the comment.
Yeah,
I just replied to
either.
it last night too.
But my point is, right, in the initial stat block for the wizard for your class features, like they're basically a clone of the wizard.
Yeah.
Which is fine until you get to the other parts where you go, okay, I'm like a wizard but not quite as good. I can't cast as many spells.
Yeah, they should have just kept going with the cloning thing.
We're gonna
the same spell.
We're gonna do a direct
comparative
comparison between wizard and sorcerer in another video. So let's not delve too.
But they should have got, because they don't spend that time in training. They should have gotten, because it's just like, I just do this thing.
In third edition, they got more weapon choices.
Right.
At least.
Yeah, there should have been some distinguishing of like, I don't spend all my time in arcane study. I just kind of, it's like I'm a natural born athlete, except for with magic.
Weren't they? If they got less spells, the idea was they got less spells in third, but they were able to cast them more
often.
Right.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's
They're dead
actually
even.
casting less.
They're actually first off know a lot less spells than the wizard will ever be able to know. Because
Well, I mean that was par for the course. They did in third edition. They knew less, but they got more castings. In this, they know less, have access to less, get the same number of castings until you start to really get sorcerer points. But even so, I feel like they got burned. Yeah. But,
a major feature of the class is to use the meta magic. That's what the sorcerer.
Did I mention they get an extra cantrip?
They do get
Come on, man! Don't take it from me and say that. Oh, yeah. But so then the strength lies in the bloodlines, right? And I feel like Draconic bloodline. Like I feel good about this one, right? At first level, I'm getting natural armor. I'm getting a bonus hit point a level, and I'm getting a language, and gosh darn golly, dragons like me. It's because they get a bonus to charisma checks with dragons. So,
not to mention isn't there a 6th level ability to like get resistance to any energy type in a pinch?
No, to their energy type.
Oh,
You choose the color,
Yeah.
well,
choose the type.
their 6th level ability is when you cast the spell of that energy type of your dragon.
Yeah.
You get your charisma modifier is bonus to the damage.
Right.
And then when you cast a spell with that energy type, you can choose as a. I don't know if there's an action associated with it or not, but at the same time, you can spend 1 sorcery point to gain resistance to damage type for 1 hour. So again, you're going to burn through those points. Now, their 14th level ability, they just fly. I got wings.
Now that I think is really cool, and it's like, you manifest the wings, and it says that okay, if you're wearing clothes or armor that's not accustomed to it, it's going to give you problems. But
think toga. When you see a guy walking around on a toga, just jump him before you can do anything. You know he's a high level sorcerer.
And then at like 17th level, they get the ability to use a dragon's aura to either cause fear or awe, which is really cool. So thematically, it really fits. How often is it going to work? How often are you really gonna actually do it? Because it costs points to do that too, doesn't it?
No. Well, that one maybe.
The flying doesn't. You just
it's expensive too. 5 sorcery points.
So that's at 17.
I just rather quicken a twin spell. To be honest with you.
So
rather a couple of chain lightnings.
So at 17th level, you're basically dipping into a third of your points because you only have 17.
It's kind of brutal.
Using a third of them to cause a mass awe or fear effect. Now, we've all been in campaigns. There's certainly times where you could drop that ability, especially on a role playing
scenario would be awesome.
Be like, boom,
make the commoners worship you.
And there's been times that I think that would be really awesome to have. Granted, the characters I've had to use it certainly when they were near 17th level, but it's certainly useful. And if you're in
or 18th level, as the case may be.
Huh?
Beginning at 18th level.
Oh, is that where they get it?
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies. I remember wrong. So that's even higher, even harder to get. I mean, you're at 18 points as opposed to 17.
Dude, my campaign, you're almost there. 16 more levels.
Yeah. Oh, only 16
Only
more.
16.
Your campaign, 15.
Right.
Spell bombardment, man. Let's talk about that.
Spell bombardment.
Again, it's 18th level, but that is freaking awesome.
Is that that's the wild?
That's the wild mage with exploding dice.
Yeah.
So you roll dice, you roll your damage dice, and if you roll max damage, you get the re-roll.
But it's only once. It's only 1 extra die damage.
Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty capped.
Oh.
1 die, I think, right?
Only once per turn.
Yeah. So, not really. I mean, all right, if you're rolling like D8s or D12s, you have potential to
At
stack.
what level?
18th.
That's what 18th level. You have the potential to get an extra die on a spell.
I feel like
I read it completely different.
I feel
read
like
exploding dice.
that should like not be capped.
All
It
right.
should just go,
So-
or maybe even just to your charisma modifier. Like up to your charisma modifier, because at 18th level, it's perfectly feasible that you would have a 20 charisma. So
Or maybe
reroll
an
up to 5
18.
dice. What?
Or maybe an 18.
Well, 18 absolutely, but the 20 is feasible.
Yeah.
Because
And you're just saying if you roll max on a die. So if you fireball somebody, right? If you
drop
get some
8 die
D6, D6s that give you a 6, you get to re-roll to add to that.
yeah, that does.
It's not really spell bombardment if you can do it once a turn.
There's no
That's
bombarding.
like spell flare.
Flare.
And I want it. That's
Extra
like
push.
that's like the cleric domains getting the. You can add your ability modifier to your cantrip at like
with the one
13th
spell.
level
With
or
the one,
15th.
yeah,
Yeah,
with the
it's
one
like
spell.
one spell plus 3 damage. All right.
I think it was like a 5th level ability or something, but still, there's literally only one spell that
Yeah.
exists.
So when
today.
you roll max on something, you're getting a little piddly D6.
Yeah, so the
Or-
sorcerer needs some love and needs some house rolling, I think, to really make it feel like a better class.
So I mean, I know you're playing a sorcerer. You've rolled up a sorcerer. You walked in here saying, "Man, I want to play a sorcerer."
Yeah, I do.
So
They're just cool. That's the problem is they're
Yeah.
so cool as a concept.
There's enough
Yeah.
here that it works.
You know what? It's one of those classes you want to play thematically.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of there's a couple other classes that are a little bit like that with the monk and the ranger, where they're not quite.
They're not quite there.
They're not quite
They
there.
need-
And I guess because some of the classes they really hit it out of the park.
Well,
So-
I mean, like the warlock, it's like it's cool thematically, and it's awesome to play. Like, I want to play one. Whereas, like, the Sorcerer, it's just cool thematically.
Well, because in the end, at the end of the day, you're just not on the same level as just a regular wizard.
Yeah, I would say some sort of mechanic to regain some sorcery points after a short rest, because the 20th level ability is kind of bullshit. And maybe that doesn't kick in until later or whatever, but still, you just don't get enough for it to be that much of an issue. Maybe
I actually feel the other way around. I feel like lower levels,
it should just be what happens.
Yeah.
And, at higher levels, you don't need it as
back.
much.
Yeah. We were talking about, like, with the vast amount of castings that you get and how many combats that you're going to actively be in. Are you going to go through all of your spell slots in a given day?
Yeah. Right.
So it could definitely be possible at the higher levels. Like I said, 7th and higher, where you've got spell slots to play around with.
You start burning them for sorcery points.
Yeah, you can sack them out 4 points to be able to really shine on the things that you're actually doing. But it's at those low levels where you are just essentially weak. At first and second level, or at first level, you're nothing better than a wizard. At second level, you can cast an additional spell. So it's
well. Here's like my thing, like, and this is the really wonky part about it. At 10th level and up, the sorcery points actually work, and they're kind of cool. I mean, let's face it. At 10th level, you can quicken 5 spells, which is pretty badass.
And also, too, a lot of those meta magics don't stack, except for, I think, Empower specifically. Because I think you're talking about quickening and twinning. I don't think you can actually do that. I think Empower is the only one that specifically says you can combine this with other meta magics.
Yeah, I know it says, like, certain ones.
Yeah. I think the rules exception is, unless it says you can do it, you can't. Pretty sure is the thing with the meta magics.
Now, with Quicken, though, it says you can cast it as a bonus action.
You can use it to do your accounting. Quicken 2015 is good here for taxes.
Yeah. But you're not going to be able to then cast another spell that round.
Well, you have to fall back to a cantrip.
So.
Or use it to move away, double move, to trade your action for a dash and then a move.
Or slap somebody around.
Attack, I don't know if most sorcerers
I
want
wouldn't
to
think
do
a sorcerer
that.
would do it, but...
Yeah, I would think to be able to cast 2 spells around, like, that would be pretty handy. Like, to make the sorcerer have some sort of, something going for it other than what the wizard has, kind of.
Well, another issue is it has a lot of spells that you can choose from. You don't get a lot of them. And a lot of the spells that I saw that are ritual spells also, well, what sorcerer is going to pick a ritual spell? Like comprehend languages or detect magic are both rituals, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it almost is like, well, your either human first level or 4th level feat needs to be ritual caster, and you should pick like wizard or something, or pick some, to have extra spell access, because otherwise you're never going to be looking at magic.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Even though you're super magical.
Yeah. Well, and also too, another thing to make it a little more thematic, I would almost say get rid of all the spell components, because it comes from your blood. Like, you are magic. Why do you need anything to, like... all right, maybe, like, the arcane focus makes sense, but, like, spell components, it's kind of dumb that they even need them. Like, I would say
that
up
makes
to
a lot of sense, too.
up to a certain GP value, up to a certain amount of gold pieces,
maybe
I would
per
say
level
you just wave it.
Just wave it.
Yeah. Like, just because you just innately do it.
And one of the other things I noticed I want to say is, like, under meta magic, the careful spell, I think it's pretty crap. I mean, in the earlier edition, you had the selective type of thing where you could just have your area effects not hurt certain people, and here it's like, oh,
They make their save.
it's like, oh, they made their save, so they're taking half damage.
Mike, you would have loved that one.
Well, and the funny thing is, when you compare this to the freaking Invoker,
I know,
the
but
Invoker
we're not
just-
doing that video.
yeah,
We're not doing that
when we do that video, just the fact, it's so annoying.
I wanted to bring it up, too.
Hold it.
Hold me back. Hold me back.
All right, so
we love the
thematically,
Sorcerer.
we really like the sorcerer.
We hate that it didn't get enough love.
Okay, with that being said, where can you find us?
We can go to nerdarchy.com, Facebook as Nerdarchy. I hear we even have a Reddit.
Yes, we have a subreddit, Nerdarchy, How to Stay Nerdy.
And we're on the Twitters as well, so we can Twitter there. So, and you can also comment below, like, subscribe,
Even share.
give your thoughts on things you'd like to see happen with the sorcerer. Your
Vent your sorcerer
That's
rage.
right, sorcerer's
Let us
rage.
know what house rules you may or may not be using.
That's right. Well, and now, until next time, then.
Stay nerdy.